My parents chose my sister over me for 28 years. Then she got arrested and they begged me to save her. She was the golden child who could do no wrong. Until she did everything wrong. There is a term psychologists use for kids like me. They call us glass children. We are the ones you look right through to see the important child, the fragile child, the talented child. We aren't abused, not in the traditional sense. We are fed. We are clothed. We have a roof over our heads. But we do not exist. We are the background noise. We are the backup plan. We are the scaffolding that holds up the family structure so the golden child can shine. My name is Marcus Jones. I'm 28 years old. I am a software engineer. I specialize in back-end architecture, building the invisible systems that keep the world running. I like code because it is logical. If you write bad code, the program fails. There is no favoritism in C++. There is no golden child in Python. There is only syntax and execution. I own my own home in Austin, a mid-century modern restoration that I paid for with my own money. I have a healthy 401k. I have a diversified investment portfolio. And I have never, not once, asked my parents for a dime since the day I turned 18. My sister, Jane Jones, is 25. She is an influencer. Her bio says she is a lifestyle curator and a visual storyteller. What that actually means is that she spends other people's money to take photos of herself in places she cannot afford, wearing clothes she will return the next day. She has never held a job for longer than 6 months. She has never paid a utility bill. She believes that the world owes her an audience. For 28 years, I watched my parents, David and Susan Jones, pour every ounce of their love, attention, and financial liquidity into Jane. It wasn't subtle. It was a religion. It was a cult of personality, and Jane was the deity. I remember the beginning vividly. I was 3 years old when my mom brought baby Jane home from the hospital. Even at 3, you can feel the shift in the air. Before that day, I was the focus. After that day, I was the furniture. Everyone cooed over her. She's so beautiful. Look at those eyes. She's going to be stunning. I stood in the corner of the living room, clutching a toy truck, watching my parents obsess over this screaming baby. I didn't understand the words, but I understood the energy. I had been replaced. As Jane grew up, the gap widened. She was objectively adorable. Big eyes, perfect smile, naturally charming. Strangers would stop us in the grocery store to tell my mother how beautiful her daughter was. They would look right past me. My parents noticed this attention. They fed on it. They realized that Jane was a source of validation for them. When Jane was 4, my mom enrolled her in piano lessons. I was 7. I remember sitting at the kitchen table, doing my homework, listening to my mom talk on the phone. She has such delicate fingers, my mom said. The teacher says she's a prodigy. We have to nurture that. I looked up. Mom, can I learn piano? She covered the receiver. Marcus, piano is expensive. Lessons are $40 an hour. We can't afford 2 kids in lessons. Besides, you're more outdoorsy. I wasn't outdoorsy. I liked puzzles. I liked music. But the narrative had been written. Jane was the artist. I was the other one. When Jane was 6, she started dance classes. Ballet, tap, jazz. My parents drove her to class 3 times a week. I asked if I could join a soccer team or a robotics club. We don't have time for that, Marcus, my dad said, checking his watch. We're busy with Jane's schedule. Maybe next year. Next year never came. Jane got horseback riding lessons at 8. Art classes at 9. Voice coaching at 10. I got nothing. We're investing in Jane's talents, my dad explained when I finally snapped and asked why she got everything. She has real potential, Marcus. The arts are competitive. She needs every advantage. What about my potential? I asked. I was 10 years old, holding a report card with straight A's. You're smart, Marcus, he said, patting my shoulder absently. You'll figure things out on your own. You're a survivor. Jane is delicate. She needs more support. Translation, you are not worth the investment. She is. Our bedrooms told the whole story. When Jane turned 10, my parents decided her room needed a refresh. They hired a contractor. New paint, soft pink with white trim. A custom-built window seat. A canopy bed with silk curtains. A matching vanity. It cost at least $5,000. My room. I was 13. I still had the same twin bed from when I was 6. The mattress was lumpy. The desk was so small my knees hit the underside when I sat to do algebra. The walls were a faded, childish blue. Can I get a new desk? I asked when the contractor was there. Just a basic one from IKEA? Make do with what you have, Marcus, my mom said, picking out fabric swatches for Jane's curtains. Money doesn't grow on trees. We're stretching the budget as it is. But apparently, the money tree bloomed exclusively for Jane. The physical safety aspect was even worse. When I was 14, I fell out of a tree in the backyard trying to fix a birdhouse. I heard the snap before I felt the pain. My wrist was bent at a sickening angle. I walked into the house, cradling my arm, gray-faced with shock. My mother was in the kitchen, sewing sequins onto a costume for Jane's dance recital. "Mom," I whispered, "I think I broke my arm." She didn't look up. She kept stitching. "Not now, Marcus. Jane goes on stage in 2 hours, and the hem is coming undone. Go put some ice on it. We'll look at it after the show." "Mom, it's bent," I said, my voice shaking. "Don't be dramatic," she snapped. "Sit in the car." I sat in the back of the auditorium for 3 hours, throbbing with agony, holding a bag of melting peas against my wrist, watching Jane tap dance to Good Ship Lollipop. By the time we got to the emergency room at midnight, the bone had set wrong. The doctor had to re-break it to set it cast. My father complained about the copay the entire ride home. "If you hadn't been climbing trees like a hooligan, we wouldn't be paying this," he grumbled. Jane got flowers for her recital. I got a lecture for breaking my arm. The favoritism wasn't just in the big things. It was in the daily erosion of my self-worth. One time in 8th grade, I won a regional science fair. First place. I beat out kids from 20 schools with a project on hydroponic irrigation. It was a big deal. The local newspaper even wrote a small article about it. I came home bursting with pride. "Mom, Dad, I won first place. They're putting it in the paper." My mom was on the phone. She held up a finger to silence me. "Wait, Marcus. I'm talking to Aunt Linda about Jane's dance competition." I waited. 10 minutes. 15 minutes. The excitement drained out of me like water from a cracked cup. She finally hung up. "What were you saying?" "I won first place at the regional science fair." "Oh, that's wonderful, honey. Good job." Her tone was the same one she used when I took out the trash. "Did you hear that Jane got the solo in the Nutcracker? It's the role of Clara." My dad came home an hour later. "Dad, I won." "Marcus, not now. I'm tired. Tell me at dinner." At dinner, Jane dominated the conversation, talking about the solo. My parents were riveted. I tried to bring up the science fair one more time. "So about my award." "That's great, Marcus," my dad said, not looking at me, cutting his steak. Then back to Jane. "So, do you need a new leotard for the solo?" The next day, the newspaper article came out. Small, but it had my name and photo. I brought it home. My mom glanced at it. "That's nice. I'll save it." She put it in a drawer. I never saw it again. When Jane got featured in a local boutique's catalog a month later, a tiny photo of her modeling a sundress, my parents bought 20 copies. They framed one for the hallway. They sent copies to relatives. They posted it on Facebook with the caption, "Our beautiful model. The world is hers." I learned then that achievement didn't matter. Only appearance did. Only Jane did. High school was the breaking point. The timeline of the cars is where the math of their love became undeniable. I turned 16 first. I was a sophomore. I had a part-time job bagging groceries to save for college. I sat at the dinner table, excited. I asked about getting a car, even a beater to get to work. "Marcus, we can't afford a third car," my dad said, his voice firm. "Gas is expensive. Insurance is astronomical for a teenage boy. You can take the bus. It builds character." "But the bus takes an hour," I argued. "Driving would take 10 minutes. "Then you'll have an hour to study," he said. End of discussion. So I did. I took the bus for 3 years. I walked in the rain. I missed shifts when the bus broke down. I built character while my parents saved money. Then Jane turned 16. I was 19. I was home from college for the weekend, sleeping in my old room with the lumpy mattress. I woke up to squealing. I looked out the window. My parents were leading Jane to the driveway. There it was. A white Jeep Wrangler. Used, sure, but in perfect condition. with a big red bow on the hood. "You're so responsible, Jane," my mom chirped, hugging her. "You've earned this." She hadn't earned anything. She'd been grounded 3 times that year for sneaking out to parties. She had a C average. But suddenly, the "we can't afford a third car" rule vanished. "The insurance is too high" excuse evaporated. I walked downstairs. "I thought we couldn't afford a third car," I said to my dad. He didn't even look guilty. "Jane is a girl, Marcus. It's dangerous for her to take the bus. She needs a heavy vehicle for safety. It's different." "I see," I said. "It's different." I drove my rusty bicycle back to campus that night. Jane drove her Jeep to the mall. The worst moment happened the following summer. I was 20, home for an internship. Jane was 17 and had the car. It was pouring rain one morning, a torrential downpour. My bike had a flat tire, and I needed to get to the bus stop a mile away to make it to my internship on time. I started walking. I was soaked within seconds. About halfway there, I heard a honk. I looked up, hopeful. It was Jane. She was driving past me in the Jeep. She had 2 friends in the car. She slowed down for a second, looked at me trudging through the mud, and then she sped up. She didn't stop. I got to work drenched. I sat through the morning meeting shivering, water pooling under my chair. When I got home that day, I confronted her. "Why didn't you stop?" I asked. She looked at me like I was crazy. She was painting her nails on the couch. "You want to ride with me?" "It was pouring rain, Jane. I'm your brother." I had my friends with me. There wasn't room. "There are 4 seats in the Jeep. You had 2 friends. There was room." "Marcus, that's so awkward," she said, rolling her eyes. "My friends don't even know you. It would have been weird." I told my parents about it at dinner. Surely they'd see how cruel that was. Surely this was a teachable moment. "Marcus, Jane's car is her space," my mom said, passing the potatoes. "She doesn't have to give you rides if she doesn't want to. You have the bus. You're fine." "She left me in the rain," I said, incredulous. "Stop being so sensitive," my dad said. "Let it go." But if I had a car and refused Jane a ride in the rain, I would have been grounded until I was 30. I would have been lectured for hours about protecting my sister. The double standard wasn't just unfair, it was suffocating. College applications were the final nail in the coffin. When I turned 18, the money talk happened. I wanted to go to UC Berkeley. It was a public school, in-state, but still expensive. "Marcus, we can't afford Berkeley," my parents said. "We haven't saved enough. You'll need to take loans. Or go to community college first and transfer." "What about the college fund?" I asked. "You guys always talked about the Jones nest egg." "The market has been bad," my dad said, looking away. "It's not what we hoped. You'll have to figure it out." I accepted it. I took out student loans. I worked 2 jobs, one at the library, one waiting tables, during college. I lived in a cramped apartment with 3 roommates to save money. I ate ramen. I stressed about debt every single day. 3 years later, Jane graduated high school. She wanted to go to USC, a private school. Tuition was triple what Berkeley cost. "It's my dream school," she announced. "They have the best communications program." My parents, "We'll make it work. You deserve to follow your dreams, sweetie." They paid her full tuition, room and board, spending money, everything. When I came home for Christmas that year, I found out they had sold the vacation cabin, the one we used to go to as kids, to pay for her first 2 years. "I thought the market was bad," I said to my dad. "I thought there was no money." "Your situation was different," he said, defensive. "You're independent, Marcus. You handle pressure well. Jane needs a softer landing. She wouldn't survive the stress of working through school." "So because I'm strong, I get punished?" I asked. "And because she's delicate, she gets a free ride?" "It's not punishment," he said. "It's equity. We give each child what they need." I went back to school. I stopped calling as much. I realized that equity in my family meant giving Jane everything and giving me nothing. I graduated college at 22 with honors, a degree in computer science. I landed a job at a tech company in Austin, making $70,000 a year. My parents' response: "Congratulations. That's a good starting salary. When are you moving out?" 3 years later, Jane graduated. Barely. A degree in communications with a 2.5 GPA. No job lined up. My parents threw a huge graduation party, rented a venue, invited 100 people. So proud of our baby girl. The world is yours, Jane. I moved to Austin. I put 1,000 miles between me and them. I worked hard. I saved 50% of my income. I lived below my means. At 26, I bought my first house, a fixer-upper in a gentrifying neighborhood. I did the renovations myself on weekends. I called my parents to tell them, I bought a house. That's great, Marcus. Send pictures. They looked at the photos I texted. It's nice. A bit small, isn't it? And that yard needs work. That same week, Jane posted a selfie in a designer dress she bought with their money. My parents shared it on Facebook with heart emojis and our beautiful girl. Stunner. A selfie got more enthusiasm than my first house. I started pulling back. Low contact. I stopped sharing my life. What was the point? I was 27 when I decided to go fully low contact. Christmas that year, Jane showed up in head-to-toe designer. New Gucci bag, Louboutin heels, Cartier bracelet. Business is good. I asked her. She was supposedly an influencer now. Amazing, she squealed. I just got back from Bali. Sponsored trip. My brand is exploding. I knew influencer economics. She had 25,000 followers. That gets you free shampoo, not Bali trips and Cartier. The math didn't add up. I looked at my parents. They looked tired. My dad was wearing shoes with worn-out soles. My mom was dyeing her own hair to save money. But they beamed at Jane like she was royalty. Isn't she successful? My mom whispered to me. We're so proud. I left Christmas early. I told them I had a work emergency. I didn't. I just couldn't breathe in that house anymore. That was the last time I saw them in person. Then I got the call. I was 28. It was a Thursday evening in September. My phone rang. It was my mom. She was crying so hard I couldn't understand her. Marcus, something terrible happened. It's Jane. My stomach dropped. The brother instinct kicked in, despite everything. Is she hurt? Is she in the hospital? She's been arrested, my mom wailed. She's in jail. What? For what? They're saying she stole money. From her job. It's a mistake. It has to be. What job? I thought she was a full-time influencer. She's been working as an accountant assistant for a design firm in LA for the last year. But there's been a misunderstanding. My dad got on the phone. His voice was grim. Marcus, listen to me. They're charging her with felony embezzlement. They say she stole $300,000 over the past 12 months. I sat down on my couch. The room spun. $300,000? It's a mistake, my dad insisted. Jane would never do that. But even as he said it, pieces clicked into place. The Gucci bag, the Louboutins, the trip to Bali, the luxury apartment in West Hollywood. Dad, I said, my voice steady. She was making $40,000 a year as an assistant. How did you think she was affording her lifestyle? We thought the influencer thing was paying well, he stammered. It wasn't, I said. She stole it. She stole the money to play pretend. We don't know that, my mom screamed in the background. Dad, I said, Jane has expensive taste and no income. The math is simple. She made a mistake, my dad said, his voice cracking. She got caught up in the culture. She's young. She didn't think it through. She's 25, I said. She's an adult. And 300 grand isn't a mistake. It's a career. She needs help, Marcus. She needs a good lawyer. The public defender won't be good enough. We found a top defense attorney. He specializes in white-collar crime. He thinks he can get the charges reduced. Get her probation instead of prison time. Okay, I said. Good luck with that. He costs $80,000, my dad said, for the retainer. The silence stretched on the line. I knew what was coming. I felt it in my gut like a punch. We don't have that kind of money, my dad continued. We've been supporting Jane through college and after. We helped with her rent. We've spent our savings. We have nothing liquid. That sounds like a problem, I said. We need help, Marcus. You want me to give you $80,000. You have a good job, he said, desperation creeping into his voice. You bought your house. You have savings. We know you're good with money. You've always been the responsible one. So because I was responsible, I said, my voice rising. Because I saved, because I sacrificed, you want me to empty my bank account to save Jane? She's your sister. She needs you. I stood up. I walked to the window of the house I bought with my own sweat. She needs me. I laughed. It was a harsh, bitter sound. That's rich. Where was this "she needs you" energy my entire life? When I needed piano lessons and got told no. When I needed a car and took the bus for 3 years. When I needed help with college and took out loans while you paid Jane's full tuition. That was different. It was exactly the same. I shouted. Jane needed things, she got them. I needed things, I figured it out myself. For 28 years. And now, when she commits a felony, you want me to foot the bill. This is life-changing, Marcus. She could go to prison for 8 to 12 years. Maybe she should. She stole $300,000. Help your sister. Why? Because she's family. I've been family for 28 years, I said, tears of rage pricking my eyes. That didn't matter when you chose her over me every single time. Why does it matter now? You're being selfish, my dad snapped. I'm being selfish? I worked 2 jobs through college while you paid Jane's tuition. I saved money, lived frugally, bought my house through sacrifice. And now you want me to hand over my life savings to save Jane from the consequences of her own greed. She's your sister. She's your golden child. The one you invested everything into. The one you celebrated. The one you chose. Every single time. This is your investment, Dad, not mine. Marcus, please. We're begging you. You're begging me now, I said, my voice turning cold. You didn't beg me to come to Jane's dance recitals. You barely invited me. You didn't beg me to celebrate my achievements. You barely noticed them. You didn't beg me to feel included. You made me feel invisible. But now you're begging. Because you need something. We're your parents. And I'm your son, the one you forgot about. Well, I'm forgetting about this request. I'm not paying for her defense. I hung up. My phone exploded. Calls, texts, voicemails. My mom. How can you abandon your sister in her darkest hour? Aunts and uncles I hadn't spoken to in years. Family helps family. Don't be cruel. Even Jane, calling from the jail payphone. Marcus, please. I made a mistake. I'm scared. I can't do prison. Please. You have the money. Just help me. I didn't respond to any of them. I blocked the numbers. 2 days later, my mom called from a neighbor's phone. We're selling the house, she sobbed. We can get enough equity to afford a cheaper lawyer. But Jane might still get prison time. That's your choice, I said. You could prevent this. You could save her. I could. I'm choosing not to. Why? What did she ever do to you? The question was so absurd I almost laughed. What did she do to me? Mom, she existed. And because she existed, I didn't matter. Every resource went to her. Every bit of attention. Every celebration. I was the backup child. The one you'd call when you needed something, but ignore the rest of the time. That's what she did to me. She took everything. And you gave it to her. We loved you both. No, you didn't. You loved her. You tolerated me. That's not true. It is true. And you know it. You just don't want to admit it. Because admitting it means admitting you failed me as parents. Your best was choosing her over me for 28 years. Well, now I'm choosing me. I hung up again. And this time, I blocked the landline too. They sold their house. They moved into a small apartment. They hired a cheaper lawyer. The trial happened 3 months later. I didn't attend. Jane pleaded guilty as part of a deal. 6 years in federal prison. The judge didn't buy the affluenza defense. He called her actions predatory and narcissistic. My parents blamed me. If you'd helped, she might have gotten probation. Maybe. Or maybe she'd have gotten the same sentence. $80,000 doesn't buy magic. Either way, it wasn't my responsibility. I didn't cause Jane to steal money. I didn't cause her to fund a fake lifestyle. Her choices caused that. And my parents' choices, to enable her, to worship her, to never tell her no, contributed. I just refused to be the cleanup crew. That was 2 years ago. I'm 30 now. I haven't spoken to my parents or Jane since. I heard through extended family that my parents visit Jane in prison monthly. They send her money for commissary. They're already planning for her release in 4 more years. They talk about her like she's a martyr. I'm not part of that plan. Some people say family is everything, that you should sacrifice for family no matter what. But family isn't just biology. Family is how you treat people. And my family treated me like I didn't matter. So when they needed me to matter, to sacrifice, to save them, I declined. Not out of spite, out of self-preservation. I'm thriving. I got a promotion last year. I'm dating someone wonderful who values me, who listens to me, who shows up for me. We're talking about getting married. My parents won't be invited. Neither will Jane. I'm creating my own family now. A family where there are no golden children and glass children. A family where everyone matters. You can't ignore someone for decades and then demand they save you. That's not how family works. Have you ever been the forgotten child? Have you ever watched a sibling get everything while you got nothing? Have you ever refused to rescue someone who never valued you? If you believe that being family means mutual respect and care, not one-sided sacrifice, hit that like button and subscribe. Hashtag the golden child's fall.